I assume the people joining right now are like the more super fans. So I assume most people saw the match. Um, this is not going to be a long stream, but I thought I would go and review some of the games, answer some questions, kind of do the same thing as the other day after I had the match with Tanya. Okay, I have the final game. The final game was a Bong Cloud, and I was actually excited to play against the French. I prepared something against Levy's French, but yeah, this is for some reason a customary finish to a lot of Speed Chess Championship matches. Uh, when one player has clinched it. So let me catch up with chat, and also thank you everyone. Were you in a hot tub? I was not. Levy did a hot tub stream yesterday, but unfortunately I don't own a hot tub. And thank you, Pack Shipman. Yeah, Levy did trick me with a Bong Cloud prep. Because the only acceptable way to meet the Bong Cloud is to reply with a Bong Cloud. Because if I don't and I try and like win quickly, then I could risk losing and then embarrassing myself. What kind of tea did I drink? I still have tea actually. I was drinking coconut oolong. It's a tea that I picked up recently from the London Tea Room in St. Louis. There was Bishop B8 tactic you kept missing to attack the rook. Was that no, that wasn't the final game. But I'm happy to kind of go through the games and share a little bit of prep.
Sit saw your match, way to go. I'm happy you've beaten Levy. I've been
Oh, thank you,
voting for you
Untraceable.
since like 2019.
Ah, wait, voting for me. Maybe winning some channel points, or maybe in the brackets. Um, yeah. So this opening, I was kind of expecting, but he only played the English once, maybe just to test me, and then I don't think he ever returned to C4.
Rosen. That was amazing, stone cold
Oh, thank you.
stoic killer. Warm greetings from Liverpool and Stella Slaughter, friend. You really looked locked in. Superb.
Yeah, I definitely felt more focused than usual.
Will I see you at the St. Louis Chess Club tournament this Saturday?
Uh, probably not. I didn't know there was a tournament taking place this Saturday. I played a tournament in St. Louis a week and a half ago as a Saturday night special.
Congrats, Eric. That was a dominant win. Be sure to check out that first Scandi game because you almost trapped Levy in the opening.
Yeah, so I prepped the Scandi too, and he walked right into my prep, but there was some small deviation. I knew it was good for white, but I couldn't figure it out in the bullet game. This line I actually prepared this morning because I was looking at a bunch of English lines last night, and then this morning I realized he could enter this move order, and it's been a while since I played this. Thanks, Kavita. Yeah, I guess I was down. I was down 2-4 at one point. Hey, Levy was getting the better of me in the blitz, beginning blitz games. So this is a cool line that I haven't played in a while, and this is actually, I think, considered a little bit dubious for black, but the refutation is really crazy.
If I have a very dirty family, is it still okay for me to post jokes that they would find friendly?
Generally, you should keep it family friendly to the other families watching too, not just your family. If your family happens to be dirtier, you have to take into account all the other families watching. I hope that makes sense. Anyway, so the point of this line is black sacks a pawn temporarily. There's a few different ways for white to take it. Bishop takes isn't good, but the whole point is d3 square is weak, and I think there's 3 moves here for white. d4 I think is a main line. Also is a layout. Maybe I can show this.
Great match versus Levy.
Thank you, Fuzzy. So d4 is a main line, after which black can take, and then when I was younger, I used to think there was a trap that I could take here. Oh no, my bishop, and then fork. But bishop d4 loses a piece to queen a4 check, and knight c6, dc6. So the point of this line is black just retreats, takes back on d5, and gets an isolated pawn, or plays against isolated queen's pawn.
Does anyone else smell the up dog?
Yeah, I've smelled up dog on many occasions. So Levy didn't enter this. He played d3. I took. And I thought this was a trickier move because I'm threatening to take and then take on d3. So white can't be too complacent because then black's crushing here. On one of the breaks, I checked this line, and white has a really strong move here, knight a4, I think. Like, Engine will say that, okay, it's still playable, but knight a4 is an interesting nuance. But the refutation to this line is, it was played in Ivanchuk's Fiddler. I just inserted the game. Is to play knight f3, allowing knight d3 check, delayed English bomb cloud. And at first it doesn't look good for white because the knight's an amazing piece. But white is able to make everything work, and it's black who's still down a pawn and a little bit overextended. And as far as I know, yeah, Ivanchuk won like a really nice game. Just winning advantage out of the opening. So I guess I was thankful Levy didn't go into that line. It's always a risk playing an opening that's refuted. I shouldn't be talking too much, but yeah, in a match like this, there's a little bit of wiggle room. Thank you, Mr. Anderson. Oh, MW, I do remember you. Yeah, Dead Man Sticks. There's also there's another Dead Man that sometimes watches too. Anyway, let's see. This game, I felt like the position was really, really good. And then
Woozle wazzle.
Then we got to this position. I had a time advantage. And then I started taking a lot of time because I wanted to win the pawn after takes. But I couldn't make this line work because g5. And there's so much pressure. Like, white has 4 attackers against f6. And maybe it's still good, like knight d2, rook d1. It was hard to calculate from a distance as well. So I'm curious. Okay, black's still better here. Knight d2, rook d1. Then I can take. And then I save the knight. I didn't go into that line. And then somehow things went downhill really quickly. Like, he still got this g5 move, and then I'm just losing. But a few moves ago, it was completely fine for black. So this was an upsetting start because I felt like the opening went really well. I had the time advantage, and then I just let it slip. And yeah, I had to be careful not to tilt from too early on. Well, you watched the replay. Yeah, I actually didn't know who the commentators were until after the match finished. That was the same case with the other day. Like the other day, I only found out it was Robert and Anamaya until I hopped on for the post game interview. Um, yeah, it was streamed on the chess.com Twitch and YouTube channels. Levy also streamed it, so there's probably a lot of different ways to watch the various commentaries. Hey, it's Johnny Biscuit.
Way to take care of business, Eric. Be sure to rewatch the match. The commentary was on point.
Ooh. Yeah, I know Danya was traveling recently, and he actually, so Danya messaged me yesterday or 2 days ago. I think it was, no, it was 2 days ago. I was invited to do commentary on yesterday's match between David Pruis and Shuvalova with Robert, but I couldn't because I had other plans. So Robert was a lone dog yesterday, but it's cool that that Robert and Danya were doing the commentary. I think they're a great duo. Also, thank you, Writer NFL. Anyway, so yeah, so he basically played this line every single game up until like much later in the bullet. He tried the Scandi and then eventually the Bong Cloud. So this is a line I prepared for.
Why don't you get hungry on the beach? Because of
Why?
all the sandwiches there.
Oh, sandwich. Ah. I was thinking the other type of witch. Took me a moment. So this was all prep, but I only looked at this last night. I did not look at the knight d5, knight b6 idea. So I had to improvise. The only thing I looked at was rook e8 and then queen b3, which is very strong because f7's hit and then bishop's tied down to b7 as well. So yeah, this was actually really annoying.
Hey Eric, I'm relatively new to chess and am curious about women titles and was wondering if you could explain/give perspective. I understand in sports having males and females be separate, but in chess isn't that a bit sexist? It's a mental game.
Yeah, there's a ton of like articles and blog posts discussing that that area. So I know it's debated, but I'd probably refer you to I mean if you just Google it, you'll find some blog posts. But I'm probably not the best person to actually
Congratulations,
discuss.
Eric. You're both great streamers, but I was rooting for you and you did it.
Oh, thank you, Stephen Gray. There is a book that came out recently, Chess Queens by Jen Shahadi, where she delves like really, really deep into like women's chess and women's only titles. And yeah, I think that the general consensus is that there's more benefits and like more pros and cons. Also, thank you, Stephen Gray. Okay, so what happened in this game? Somehow I won. Like the first several games of the match, white won. I got c4 in. Ah, this game. Yeah, this game we got the structure a lot. And it's tricky to understand, but white has a slight edge because d pawn is defended and passed. And then I mean this was a long grind down. But this was part of the I'd probably call it the pre-match strategy, is to get like a very stable position where I can try and grind down some like long end games. And that's what happened here. Like black's probably not worse by much. Yeah, it's like slight edge for white. But it's a position that I can keep playing and playing and playing, especially with the time situation. At some point, I almost lost this. Because I put my king on g7, and then my king was just stuck. Knight came to d6. And I allowed f5 check. But actually, like, I had anticipated this move, and I don't think it's good for black. Because then the pawn just becomes weak. So it was just important I didn't play a move like this, and then I would blunder at bishop. Yeah, I just chased the pawn, and then I won the pawn. And then it was a matter of attacking b6, which I eventually did. But it's still tricky. But then it was less tricky. It was bishop f6. And then, yeah, I just had to not flag. Okay, I'm doing my best to try and read chat. If you're just joining, yeah, I just had a match against Levy. I assume most people know the result. If you don't want the result to be spoiled, then watching the stream maybe isn't the best idea. But the final score was 12.5, 7.5. But it was intense. After the first 6 games, I was down 2-4. Hey, it's Brad.
Hey Eric, Levy said he was nervous playing you. Were you nervous? Do you know your peak heart rate?
I was definitely nervous
Congrats on
before the
win.
match.
I feel like I just saw one of my kids beat up the other.
Is that a good thing?
Hi Eric. Here's to 16 months of more great content. Cheers.
Okay.
I think women can be as good as men in chess for sure. The issue is one of proportions. Historically, and even now, men were way more likely to take it up. Polgar is I think showed that women can be as competitive as anyone.
Yeah, I think that's a very fair point. It's like culturally more men play than women. The question was, what did I get nervous? And then yeah, like even with the match against Tanya, and even in like over the board tournaments, I'll have some nerves before a game. But usually once a game, or games in this case, gets going, then the nerves kind of just go away, because then my mind has something to think about. And then it's just a matter of playing chess. But maybe it's different for other people. Like, and there's still some nerves, like especially when I get low on time, then sometimes the mind can do weird things. Like Levy, I think, mentioned it, where like his mind just shuts down. But it's just so important to like stay as focused as possible and try and find that zone where you kind of detach yourself from all of like external distractions and just focus on trying to play the best moves possible. Like even detach yourself from like the result and just treat it move by move.
Congrats Eric. That was really fun to watch.
Oh, thank you, Fenrisbiz.
Genuine question. I've always wondered, why is chess.com more popular than Lichess? I can't find reasons to justify paying for chess.com for features you get for free on Lichess. Also want chat's opinion.
Well, first of all, it's easier to find for new people because when you search for chess, the search engines will optimize the the domain name. Like if you search for actually I can't think of a good analogy, but yeah, chess.com first of all has just better SEO.
YouTube fan here. I share my $5 Jeff Bezos with you.
Also, chess.com was founded in early 2000s. And they do a ton of events and content like more so than Lichess.
Warning. Eric Rosen just went guard mode and is massacring chess content creators. Vengeance, good people of chat, was Eric's today, pay heed.
Uh, thanks for the warning, Ving Duster. Yeah, I'm doing my best to try and address like all these questions. But it like honestly, it's so great that chess.com and Lichess like coexist because they both have their own like huge benefits. Like chess.com runs a
I
ton
think
of
there is room for
cool
multiple
events.
chess sites. While I
Yeah,
love Chess and think their
even
software
chess24
is
too.
overall better, chess.com has the edge when it comes to a handful of features, analysis, puzzle rush, and because people pay they can afford to employ top players who make.
Yeah, like both sites, but I'd say especially chess.com has helped like grow the whole chess economy and market where like it's so much easier to make a living these days. Maybe not necessarily as a professional player, but in some regard, uh, through chess, like through all the um, like event work and marketing and development side. Pretty sure chess.com has at least 200 employees like worldwide. But yeah, generally, the benefit of Lichess is the fact that it's free and open source, and like you get all the features without having to pay anything. So there was a question earlier about my peak heart rate. I wasn't actually wearing my Apple Watch. I was thinking about like putting it so people could see it on the live broadcast. Um, but I didn't want my watch to like notify me, and sometimes if I get notifications, it can like buzz. So I thought it would maybe be a distraction. Thank you, Stephen Gray. I'm sure my heart rate peaked, I don't know. If I had to guess, like 150, 160. But I think I did a decent job staying like relatively calm. Um, like there weren't too many moments where I completely freaked out. Okay, so this next game, this is game 3. Levy switched the opening. And we played this structure a lot. Again, I was happy with the position. I actually don't remember how I lost this game. I was happy to get this sort of structure because this is very similar to a London, where like I play the same structure as white sometimes. So it was still in my comfort zone. Ah, this game. Yeah, I allowed this tactic. I took on a3 and just allowed knight c6. And I drained all my time, but I think it's already losing. I was trying to be really clever here and play queen takes c3. This is a move I initially wanted to play. The problem is, I think it's 97. Wait, no. Wait, why did I not play queen c3? No, white can
Teresa
take.
492 lovies.
And then, man, I'm forgetting. The idea was to. I just don't think it works because takes. What was my idea? My idea was to take on c1, but then knight e7 check, and my bishop's not covering e7, and I'm just losing the rook. Um, so I went into this other line. I think it's already lost though. Let's see. So I took. Oh, I have to take with the other rook. And this allows me to take on c1. It's still worse for black, though. I couldn't figure it out during the game. And the problem is, even though it looks like we're just trading, white has check and then bishop d6 in the end. But still somehow I kept fighting. I got really low on time. Oh, this game, he almost stalemated me. Except not really. I got the stalemate trap, though. He just didn't fall into it. Bishop takes f8 was inaccurate. Wait, really? Oh yeah, just queen f8. I mean, it seems like there's a few different ways to win, but queen f8, queen f7. Yeah, the problem with playing Levy, like he knows a lot of my sneaky things. So against a lot of other players, it would be like a lot of players would not win this because they'll eventually stalemate me. Yeah, so I played king h8 and said, "Oh no, my queen. Oh no, my queen." Of course, here it's pretty obvious it's stalemate. So we played queen g5. And then queen f6 was good. And then I played the best try here, which is king g8 takes. And the way this trap works is I don't recapture the queen because it's a losing king pawn ending. I play king h8, but a lot of players would expect me to take the queen. So a lot of players would pre-move some pawn move. But Levy didn't pre-move. And then, yeah, then he just beats me. So, yeah, I don't think I've ever trapped Levy with that stalemate trap. I've trapped Hikaru with it, but not Levy. Okay, so that was my second loss. The score was 1-2. And then, yeah, then we repeated this line. And again, I won. Oh yeah, this position reminded me of my game with Tanya, where it was like better knight against sad bishop. Thank you, Samadox. Yeah, this is pleasant. Engine says it's equal, but I think it's just easier for white to play. But then somehow I think he just outplayed me. I could have easily lost this game. Because my knight got kicked around. And then the pawns were menacing. And the bishop supported g4. I played queen b1, setting up sneaky tricks, but he just played king g7. And then, yeah, then we traded. Somehow I managed to creep through, though. Yeah, I got the knight to c5. At this point, we were both, I think, below 5 seconds.
Woo, GG's, your bullets from last compared to this year is simply insane. Good luck in the next round.
Oh, thank you, Sami. Yeah, I think part of it has just been openings. The fact that like every opening, I had a clear idea what to do, and then I preserved more time for later in the game. But another part is just getting used to like moving the mouse. And I was kind of nervous for this match because I was playing from my laptop and not my usual desktop setup. So my mouse settings, still using like a gaming mouse, but it has a slightly different feel. I was playing a little bit yesterday, and I was just mouse slipping a lot. But I don't think I made any mouse slips today. But I have 2 stalemates against Levy. Oh. Oh yeah, I'm sure it's possible to check actually.
Congrats, Eric. Hope you go all the way. Good luck and thanks for the good times.
Oh, thank you, One Up Dog. Yeah, someone earlier was saying it smells like Updog. Maybe we found the reason why. Okay, Cooper Moore. Let's see. Sharing these games. Um, what I'll do is just bring it in to study. So layout is better. So this is not quite a stalemate trap because it's just a draw. Like even after I lose the knight, um, this was kind of an expected stalemate. And then, oh, I did stalemate trap Levy. Was that from last year's match? So there's this game. This was definitely streamed somewhere. This was probably last year's match, right? Man, our openings were so different last year. I didn't play. I didn't play any other first move for white today other than e4. Like, I thought maybe to just see what he would play against London, but I never got around to it. So this game, yeah, yeah, this game was great because I employed the same concept as the more typical stalemate trap, but I'm not in the corner this time. And of course, he's expecting me to take the queen. But I played here, and then he pre-moved
Great
f1 equals
performance,
queen.
Eric.
Thank you, Valentinian. Valentinian. Welcome back. Yeah, I guess this was last year's Speed Chess Championship. Anyway, yeah, he didn't stalemate me in game 3. Game 4, I won. So it was tied 2-2, and then he won the next 2 games. But I was still liking the positions. It's a very typical idea in the structure to get the knight to d6. It's a nice knight. But it's sometimes hard to maneuver because from b8 it takes at least 4 moves. So we saw this in a few of the games to go from d7 to b6 to c8 to d6. This game, something went terribly wrong. This game I thought I was better though, but it was super unclear. Because he gave away 2 rooks for the queen. Oh, that was from the yellow match. There is a game where we both, or there is a match where we both wore yellow hoodies. So I don't think that was a Speed Chess Championship though.
Congrats on the win versus Levy. Well played by both of you and hope that you win the whole thing.
Oh, thank you, Skippy Dingle Chalk. Yeah, my next match won't be until after the other matches finish. So there's gonna be 3 more matches? I have to wait until 3 more matches finish. It's gonna be Irene against BB Sara, and then the winner of that will play Danny Wrench, and then I'll play the winner of that match. Okay, so what happened in this game? I was really close to playing Rook E1, but then I didn't because I realized White has check and then C7. And my original intention was to go for a draw, but the king can escape via F4. And then the pawn's promoting. But maybe it's still playable. Like, it's really close to checkmating the king. I couldn't figure it out. Wait, is this, let me check this line. Winning for white? Yeah, this is winning for white.
I hope you get to play Irene. That would be fun.
Yeah, it's my 2 friends in this, or probably 2 of my better friends in the whole bracket. I'm actually friends with like a lot of A lot of the players in the bracket. Kostya's a good friend. Justice and I went to Webster together. We overlapped for 1 year. Friendly with Danny Wrench, Greg Shahadi. Also friendly with Lawrence. I met Lawrence in Gibraltar. He was doing commentary. Like, he's actually kind of a nice person when he's not trash talking Greg. Also, thank you, Atomic Clock. So this position is already winning for white, which is kind of sad. I was optimistic. Wow, so he just found a winning line. Oh, Queen A7 here. So during the game, I was expecting E5. And against E5, my plan was to blitz out Queen A7, which apparently maybe isn't so great. But I thought this was a cool idea. But then when he took on D5, I just forgot about the Queen A7 idea because I was so focused on the line where I take the rook. But Queen A7, the point being D4 is weak. And if Queen F2, then Knight D5, and yeah, D4 is a long-term weakness. Anyway, that didn't happen, and then I was still fighting, but the problem was I had no time, and he had these really annoying pawns. Any chances? Yeah, everything's losing. I set up a trap here. He didn't fall into it. But if knight takes c7, I have rook e7. Oh, it's still winning for white though. Wow. The point is I'm ready to take back. It looks like black can hold, but white can sack the queen and then win both rooks in 2 moves and then be up the knight. But okay, he played the more convincing knight d6 and then... So here I was trying to set up the stalemate trap again. I was hoping he would play this. I was going to play this. He would take. The problem is, though, that when I play king here, he can pre-move promotion with checkmate. So it would be a failed stalemate trap. Snaboof asking, what do you think about queen d7 after e4? Queen d7. I don't think I considered queen d7 because it takes away the square from my knight. And when I played b5, it just seemed more multi-purpose because it set up this idea and it reinforced my knight. But queen d7 is top engine move. I guess the point is, wow, how does this work? Ah, I win d4. Yeah, this did not cross my mind. That's a cool trap, though. Queen d7 to set up a sack on g4. But then there's no guarantee he plays e5. I guess then I'm threatening to take on d4. Yeah, very hard to see in a blitz game. Did Robert Hess see it? Robert saw queen d7? That's crazy. It doesn't surprise me too much, though. Like, Robert's is so sharp. Along with Danya. Even when commentating, like, they'll see, like, really crazy precise lines. Yeah, I guess the more I'm looking at it, the more it makes sense. Because white's so overextended, and, like, I should have been aware of, like, the targets. Like, obviously, I was aware of d4, but also g4, which did not cross my mind. Okay, so I was down 2-3, and then I think this is one of the only games I lost with white. This game and the Bong Cloud game at the very end. So we repeated the same line. Oh yeah, this was my worst game, like opening wise. because I just didn't have an improvement. I was trying to improvise, but I kept getting kicked around. If we look at how the next few moves unfold for black, every move he plays for the next 3 moves is basically like a punch in the face. Like he hits my bishop, hits my queen, bishop d5 hitting the knight, and I'm just purely on the defensive. And then he keeps throwing punches. Like, this is probably why I would not like to face Levy in boxing or chess boxing. I don't want to get punched in the face. Because after the trade, it's still okay, actually. Actually, the engine says I'm fine. The counter punch. I didn't want to allow queen e1. I guess it's okay. It just feels like I'm pinned everywhere. And the engine will be very precise. Wow, the engine finds connect 4, pawn b4. Idea bishop b2, hit the queen, defend the rook. That's so hard to find these things. So I'm still holding things together. c4 I think was a really bad move. I missed the fact, like for some reason I thought I could play knight f3 here, but then I just lose c4. So I had to play c5. Engine says queen c2, but then I lose d4. Yeah, this also looks really bad for white. I mean, everything was pretty bad, like going forward, but I was still holding on. Like even after I lost a pawn, the problem was at some point he got knight c2. Maybe I'm already in trouble though. If I play bishop c3, then this can hang. Thank you, Patchy. Also, yeah, sorry, it's sometimes hard to keep up with everything in chat while showing these games. Let me just show what happened this game. Because I was worse, but I almost... Oh, this game I almost won. Also, thank you, Startled Cubit, gifting 10. Really appreciate that. So even though I was down a pawn in this game, the fact that there's opposite color bishops still gives me winning chances because my king was able to come in. Yeah, it was actually crazy how close I was to winning. Because b1 was just guarded. And then I had the potential for 2 outside pass pawns.
Yakshmesh Eric, congrats in the win. That was such a great match to watch.
Oh, thanks, Borat. Yakshmesh. And this is probably one of the crazier time scrambles. I'm sure there's a clip of this moment. Yeah, I was so happy to get an h4 because the pawn is tied down to defending the bishop. And at this point, it should be winning. But somehow he tricked me. The problem is, like, he's controlling g7. Although I can just play g7 right here. Yeah, a lot of ways to win. I pushed the f-pawn, thinking might as well be safe, but then I got pinned. And then bishop b4 was really strong, and I think I'm losing here. f5 was probably the decisive mistake. Oh, it's still drawn. Ah, because I can just play g7, sack the bishop. That's hard to find. That is losing. Yeah, I went from like winning to drawn to losing in like 2 moves. I mean, it's so hard with a 1-second increment to try and think clearly because like, you want to calculate, but it's just pure adrenaline and intuition. Yeah, I queened, but yeah, unfortunately, I just lost my queen.
Thanks for streaming and making content.
Oh, thank you, Cantor Gianni. There is a stalemate trick here. If the black king moves anywhere, it's stalemate, but that didn't happen. Rook was hanging on move 72. Oh, I missed the free rook. When I played f4, I just saw my pawn going forward. I didn't see my bishop going backward. Oh, that's kind of sad. Yeah, I should really spot that idea. Like the moment the rook lands on g2, I can play f4 with tempo. I'm sure Robert and Danya like spotted it. Oh, I was hanging for 2 moves as well. Or no, I was hanging for 1 move. I can take it here. Man, f5 was such a bad move. Oh, it's funny, like even initially going through this, I didn't see the rook was hanging. So I was down 4-2. And then I proceeded to win, like, how many in a row? 3 in a row. I think this was the last game of the 5-1 portion. And this is a game I could have easily lost. Like, Levy could have had a big lead. Yeah, because we got this weird position. I think this is just equal, right? Maybe black's slightly better. No, this is just equal. And the problem was I was down by 2, and he basically was offering repetition, but I wanted to play on for a win. But I couldn't figure out how, and then I drained all my time. And then I played queen b3 without really calculating thoroughly. And this move just dropped a pawn. Yeah, white wins a pawn after takes. But the cool thing is that the game goes on and there's some compensation. So it was sort of an accidental gambit. Because d4 and f4 are both targets, mainly d4. And there's potential for this and this and this. f6 is a main threat to exploit the pin. But then there's also, yeah, just 2 potential attackers against d4. Was this the first time you and Daniel were on stream together? I'm sure we've been on stream in the past.
Congrats on the win.
We've definitely like streamed bullet matches against each other where he sometimes adopts me. Or sometimes like almost adopts me, but then I like sneak in a draw or win. Thank you, Dargan. So yeah, somehow it wasn't so simple for white. It was much easier to play with black. And he got low on time, and eventually I just won f2. Yeah, takes, and yeah, I won f2. So I went from being down a pawn to being up a pawn. And then, yeah, knight g3 was a weird move, but I mean, the point was knight e2, which he didn't defend against. And then, yeah, at some point I got forked, but it didn't matter because I had too many pawns. Am I lagging? Doesn't say I'm dropping any frames. Sometimes when I stream from my laptop, there's more tech issues, but hopefully the quality is decent. Sometimes it's the viewer's internet lagging too. Oh, thank you, Pablo. Yeah, I guess I'd encourage people to rewatch the commentary. Like Levy streamed it from his channel, and then the main broadcast. It should be on YouTube. Is the free place to watch it with Robert and Danya. Okay, so I won that game. And then this was the first game of the 3-1 portion. And yeah, in the 3-1 portion, I had checked the line. And like on the break, I found the improvement. But then I messed it up because I didn't play a4. When I played Rook e1, I was just expecting this, and then I would play a4. So I didn't get to play my improvement until I think the next game I was white. But I still got a nice position. And actually, this game was, I think, maybe one of my quickest wins. So the problem for black was like the knight came in and G2 was defended.
GG's.
AQT gains. And then also B5 hung. So yeah, this worked out really nicely. Thank you, Orbis. Yeah, all of black's pawns just kind of evaporated on the queen side. And at some point, the knight got trapped. Yeah, rook d2. The problem is black wants to take on a2, but then I have check, and this is just mating. Oh, so the move saying this is when Danya got frustrated for Levy repeating the same line, and yeah, yeah. I mean, it's tricky when a player is like very stubborn to their opening preparation. Also, thanks so much, Adriana. Appreciate the raid. Shout out to Adriana. If you're just joining, I had the Speed Chess Championship match earlier against Levy, and I didn't stream it myself, but we're doing some post-mortem game analysis, just trying to chill and recover. Oh, Adriana was making a prediction. Oh, maybe you tuned in too. Yeah, usually on the chess.com Twitch broadcasts, there's predictions where you can wager channel points. So I'm curious what the odds were. Um anyway, so when I won this game, it was tied again. It was tied no, wait. 4-2. Yeah, it was tied 4-4. So it wasn't until the ninth game that I finally took the lead in the match because I won this one. Not remembering this one. Oh, this is where he played Queen F3. Yeah. Um, One thing I guess I'll reveal is that I did not prepare this line before the match. I think Levy was going into this expecting me to play what I usually play, Bishop D6, but Bishop F5 is a line I played when I was younger, and it's supposed to have a solid reputation, but there are some issues with it, like if White really knows what they're doing. And basically in 2016, Carlsen refuted the whole opening against Kramnik and just like blew Kramnik off the board. But I don't think Levy played exactly what Carlsen played because it requires a very specific move order. And I can paste in the game just to compare. So yeah, we get to this position. And what Carlsen did, instead of h4, the key was to bring the knight to h4 and then bring the other knight to g3 and then just dominate the f5 square. And this is a model game that, like, if I know my opponent plays this line as black, I would love to enter this position as white. As it was pure positional play, and then the h-pawn started running. That didn't happen in our game. He played h4, which is another main line. I think white's considered to be slightly better here. But I still had a sense of like how to deal with the position. There's a game between Short and Bologan. Not sure if it's... Maybe it doesn't show up here. But basically the setup for black is push the a-pawn, bring the knight here, here, then either here, and then knight d6 or here, bishop e7, and then sometimes black plays f5. So even though I didn't have maybe specific lines prepared, I knew all of the ideas. And that just made it very easy to play in in a 3+1 game. And we can kind of see the arrows play out. Like, yeah, all these moves came pretty quickly. I played bishop b4, and then I realized my bishop was misplaced on b4. Because I want to play this, but if I play this too soon, there's knight a2. So then I just dropped the bishop back to e7, and losing tempo I don't think mattered too much. Got the pawn to f5, and then it was just really solid. At some point there was some trick. Yeah, so I moved the bishop back to b4 because the trick was that after f3, it looks like I have to trade, but I can take with the bishop. And then if takes here, I have bishop b2, which is why he didn't go for this line. And there's no time for white to take either pawn, and then wherever the rook moves, I take, my bishop escapes, and black is up a pawn here. Levy made it to the finals last year, yeah. Who did he lose to? Did he lose to Molina? Robert Molina? Or Kashinskaya? I'm already forgetting. Yeah, he lost to Molina. Ipsy asking, what was your best game? That's actually a good question. It may have been one of the later Caro Khan games. Like when I was able to play my full prep, I think it was a game where I played Queen A3 against his Caro Khan. Or like Queen A3 on move like 18.
Go Eric, King of the Ims.
We'll get to that game. Anyway, this game I ended up winning the G3 pawn. And then the nice thing was I won the H pawn as well. And I had the in-between move. And then here I was up a pawn, and then took some work to win the rook ending. We had a few games where the rook endings were like kind of tricky to convert. I danced around and finally played b5, and then won the pawn. And pushed. Oh, the bishop knight game, yeah. I mean, it wasn't necessary to mate with bishop knight in that game, but I kind of allowed it because I wanted to burn as much of the match clock as possible, which is a fair strategy given the match format. And I think it was close to 50 move rule because I was kind of stumbling in the beginning. But I did do it on purpose. I didn't have to lose my final pawn. I mean, we can jump to that game. Wait, not this game. Second to last game? Oh yeah, I guess this was the only e4 of today. From Levy, I should say. I played e4 every game, I think. But yeah, I like when he played this, I was trying to remember my preparation because I looked at this last night, but I forgot to look at it this morning. And it's supposed to be okay for black. D5 immediately. There's some other line where, like, bishop... How does it go? Oh yeah, if bishop e3, I had a really cool idea prepared. It was to play b5. This would have transposed into my preparation. Oops. Sorry about that. And the point was, I lose a pawn. I'll have to remember it with the engine. But then I win the pawn back, because rook b8, knight c3, rook takes b2. Oh, this is just good for black. There's another line where I actually sack the rook for the bishop, but not remembering completely. Anyway, yeah, this is one of the more entertaining games. I mean, a lot of the games were entertaining, but the finish to this game was insane. Yeah, I felt like I was in my element though, because like my pieces just had happy squares, moves were natural, even in a structure that I wasn't playing the whole match. And then yeah, then I found this idea, bishop e5, queen g7, just maximizing pressure everywhere. And then eventually there's going to be some knight f3, bishop c3, which happened. But then the problem was he tricked me. I didn't I didn't have to take the knight. I think I saw the fact that I was going to get forward. Well, I did it anyway because, well, first of all, I was super low on time. But also, I thought the bishop knight ending was still slightly better for black. Of course, queen a1 check. Just need a few more seconds to find that move. But Danya said I played like a 3000 this game. That's a nice compliment, but a 3000 would not take the knight. I think it was a good decision for the match strategy. Because it's only black who can win this. And then pieces found harmony. He was tricky though, because he started getting play, but I was just in time to set up a2, a1. And then the bishop just controls both queening squares. Okay, so the part I'm curious about was the move number. Because I took the pawn on move 62. And looking back, I should have made a mental note of the final capture. I was just, or the, I guess this is the final capture. For those that don't know the 50 move rule, if 50 moves go by with no captures and no pawn moves, then it's a draw. So I basically have 50 moves until I can mate. And how close was I? Got made on move 99. Okay, so I wasn't cutting it too close. I had 13 moves to spare. I stumbled in the beginning. But then, yeah, once he walked to this corner, I mean, bishop here probably isn't the quickest way to do it, but the key to winning this position is to set up the totem pole. It can be confusing because there's all these different orientations. Like sometimes it's sideways, but in this case, it's on the F file. And the way that I was taught and the way I usually teach this checkmate is the knight moves in a W. Sometimes if it's an M, if the the board is upside down, or sometimes it's an E if it's sideways. And then the knight moves in a W, the king moves like this, and then the bishop just fills in to control the eventual dark squares. So that's kind of the general overview. But then to actually do it, we see this play out. We basically have to force the king to this corner in order to checkmate. And yeah, the better attempt is king d1 to try and run. He played king f1, which made it a little bit easier. If king d1, black does the same movements, like keep moving the king this way and knight this way. So start with this, then this. And then when the king gets here, very important move bishop to d6, cutting off the king. And then black has a wall around the king, and there's just no preventing the fact that the king's going to have to run to the corner. So if here, then this. If here, here, here. And the knight will continue its W. And we get this position. We eventually got something similar in the game. Yeah, so this is a common pattern. I didn't mean to give a full lesson on bishop knight mate, but It's one of these things that it's useful to know how to do. So I think this is the longest game. 99 moves. Um, yeah, and this game can probably look back. It took several minutes, so it burned a lot of time on the clock. Um, okay, I'm probably not going to look at every game, but there is a Scandi game. Where is the Scandi game? Oh, this is my shortest game. Ah, this is a game that I just won as queen. So I had prepared this idea before the match. I prepared this last night, where it's really tricky because black has two major things to worry about after 95. The two kind of major ideas are knight c4 and also g4 h4. Now there was one game where I went astray, but yeah, here I was able to get in g4, and then the problem is h5's coming. The only way to save the bishop is to play h6 or h5, but then I take, and the structure is really weak. Oh, here has suggested a queen losing move. Yeah, I was happy to play knight b5. I was just winning a ton of material. Because I'm threatening the queen, the bishop, there's no queen c7, and I'm still threatening to trap the bishop with h5. Oh, it has suggested queen c7. I wonder if that's the best move. No, better is queen takes b5, also losing the queen. Oh yeah, we have a moments badge thing. Moments are a new Twitch feature. They don't happen so often here though. Yeah, there was, I think the other Scandi game, I played the same idea, and did I lose this game? Yeah, I lost this game. So this game, like it's bullets, so I have to decide between knight c4 and g4. And this looked really good. But then I don't have a great discovery against the queen. So I wonder if I had to do something else. Let's see. It should still be good for white. Oh, engine says knight c4 or g4. But white's not winning. It's just a bit more pleasant. Ah, now knight c4. Wow. Ah, because we chase the queen away from defending the bishop, and then we just take. Aha. Yeah, I have to play bishop d2 first. And then I ended up playing both ideas. Wait, I considered knight f3. So knight f3 is winning here, but what happens after takes? Rook g1, queen h3. Oh, the queen's stuck. Rook g5. Wow, bishop f1. And the queen's getting trapped. Queen h6, I take the bishop. Okay, so some missed things. It's hard to find all these tactics in Bullet. Wait, did Hess find the bishop f1 idea? That's insane. So what happened, I'll explain my thought process, because when I played g4, I think I was aware of queen takes d4, and I was initially planning knight f3, but then when I realized the knight blocks the bishop from taking the pawn, I just rejected knight f3, and I didn't actually calculate fully. I think I also assumed that after rook g1, the queen could move somewhere, but I didn't realize I'm controlling all these squares. And yeah, I guess of course if the queen has to move here or here, then it's nice for white. Wait, so this game went on for a long time. Oh yeah, I was just burning match clock. Wait, I almost won this. I almost came back this game. I was just dead lost. And then somehow my rook got active. Oh, this was actually a really funny game. I was really close to winning. I think Levy was winning the whole time, but I had chances. I should explain this moment. If I play a7, then e3 threatening mate. I can't stop mate. So I had to play rook e8. And then I queened. The problem is this is just winning for black. Yeah, that was a funny game. Thank you, Ben Pasky. And it's hard, I think from Levy's perspective, because he had to win like several games in a row to come back. And sometimes when you get a winning position, you just want it to be over as quickly as possible. It's easier to get a bit careless. I'm sure I've been in that spot before too. And yeah, this is another super long game. Again, I was hoping for stalemate tricks, but no stalemate. Yeah, I think we looked at most of, oh, the Jobava London game. That was actually the second. So Levy played Jobava London at some point. Wait, when did he play Jobava London? Here. Yeah, I can talk a little bit about my prep against Jobava London. Because Levy only started playing this within the last few months, I think. It's become really popular. And up until a few days ago, I didn't really have a great line against Jobava London. But then last night, I discovered this line to take in bishop g4. And the nice thing about this line is, first of all, it's not so common, so a lot of white players won't be prepared for this. And then a lot of natural moves for white just run into trouble. Like Levy played knight f3 and h3, but then I just take, and white is either getting bad pawn structure or losing the d-pawn. He sacked the d-pawn, and then I think the rest was pretty straightforward. This game burned a lot of time too, because I was having a hard time winning the rook ending. I almost repeated. Like I'm up 2 pawns. It should be easily winning. This was crazy, actually. It was one of the longest games of the match. The reason, okay, so there were a few reasons why I was being very hesitant to make any commitments. I think one reason was to burn more match clock. But like with the 1 second increment too, I'm just moving around, and while I'm moving around, I'm trying to figure out my clear plan. So there's kind of a trick in these online blitz or bullet games where you move around aimlessly, because this position it's 0 risk for black. And the point of moving around aimlessly is to not lose any time while trying to think of a plan.
Less than
It's
3.
kind of tricky to explain, but like while I'm moving around, I'm thinking of like what my breakthrough is. Like if I want to go for d4 at some point, if I want to bring my king up, if I sack this pawn and win g4. So eventually, yeah, I sack h6, got the king around. That was really tricky here. And it should still be winning. I don't think I ever let slip here. But then I lost e-pawn. But then I queened. Also, thank you, EC Synapse. If we just take a look at the other Jobava London game, because this game he played f3, which was like when I prepared this last night, it was the most expected move. And now it's very important to play bishop d7. Like otherwise, white has knight b5. And then, yeah, then the position was nice, I think. Although he wanted to attack me. Like originally, my plan was to castle kingside before he played knight h5. But this just looks really, really scary. It's probably already losing because knight f6 and there's so many forks. So I castle queenside. And then, yeah, then we got the structure. Oh, in this position. Um, this position, I was imagining Robert and well, I didn't know who was commentating. I was imagining like the commentator is just streaming knight g3. And now I'm realizing I could have played it. For some reason, I didn't play knight g3 because king g1. I just didn't realize a rook was hanging. Was Danya screaming knight g3? The cool thing about knight g3 is if white takes, it's force mate. Because takes, and of course I saw this. It's a typical mating pattern. I just didn't see the rook is hanging. And I'm curious if I'm so much better here, because after it takes, white has this move. Okay, it's better for black. I mean, I played a6 because it looks a little bit safer on the king side, but it gives away the advantage. Yeah, I wanted to play knight g3 eventually. I was just being overly patient. And it was still pleasant. Like I still managed to win this. It's so hard for white to deal with h pawn. Okay, I think I looked at most of the games. I feel like Levy could have easily won the match. Like if momentum went more on his side, like in some of the key moments, especially when he was up 4-2. It's just like these momentum shifts and like very critical moments and time pressure can sometimes determine the outcome. Um, but of course, there are a lot of factors. I'm looking forward to like watching the commentary again. Yeah, I was playing. I guess most games I had a time advantage. Um, just because I had a better sense of what I was doing in like opening and early middle game. Can you discuss your prep? Uh, I'm debating. Maybe I will. It's just it can be risky to share.
Love
I
you,
can share a
Eric.
few things. Well, I love you too, Nathan Phillips. So the way I prepped was I just looked at like all the random things Levy could play. Um, I'm just making sure I'm not going to leak too much here. Yeah. Okay. I'm not going to share everything. I still have to keep some things secret, but uh, I spent several hours last night working on openings for black and openings for white. We didn't get into. We only played a very small portion of what I prepared beforehand, but there were certain things I just had to be ready for. Um, yeah, the cool English gambit. This is top secret. I'm not sharing that. Um, but Carol Khan 2 nights, like I did a lot of analysis in. Um, because Levy has tens of thousands of games online. Um, a large portion of which he plays Carol Khan, and I was actually nervous playing this because I shared with him a few months ago that I was studying this line. Um, but he played the G6, which he covered in like a recent recap, and yeah. So this is my prep file. Um, and I'd mainly looked at rookie Bishop E6 because he had like one game with this idea. Did I look at A5? No, I only looked at A5 after rook E8. So I didn't even look at like the main thing he played, A5, knight A6. Yeah, I'm debating. I'm actually realizing there's some things I can share the Scandi prep. The Scandi prep I was actually really happy with. Um, again, looked at this last night and this morning. Oh, so the main line is knight d5. There's actually a really cool line here that almost refutes the Scandi. Knight d5 takes G takes his like main line, and actually I have to give things to. Actually, I shouldn't shout them out because they might want to keep it secret for themselves. But a friend of mine shared this idea with me: knight h4 and then bishop takes e6. Um, and it's one of like the natural lines black could walk into. And yeah, this is it's actually an incredible line. Like white sacks more material, and then black is just losing. Key move g3, preparing bishop f4. Um, but then the other like main line I prepared was bishop f5. Wait, where was it? Oh yeah, after e6 I prepared knight e5. Um, and this is a line where white has g4 and knight c4 are the two main ideas. Hey, it's Potzer Play. Thanks Potzer Play for giving me some opening ideas.
Hi Eric, hope you're feeling okay, much love from London.
Oh, thank you, Choppin' Bread. Or Choppin' Board. I feel like bread is more choppable than the feeling of boredom. Yeah, I'm doing fine. I'm kind of recovering from the adrenaline rush. Um, but yeah, I mean, a match like this forces me to study openings on a much deeper level than I would normally do. And like before a couple days ago, I didn't have anything against the Scandi. Like the main thing I was playing against Scandi was the Gambit line, which is playable actually, but um, I didn't want to go into something that I've played before that is known to be dubious. Oh, Chopin. Chopin. Oh, it's a composer. Sometimes names can be confusing. Yeah, this line is actually one of my first like instructional videos on YouTube on my channel. I showed this really cool trap, C6. I actually trapped John Bartholomew with this like a few years ago, and then bishop takes f7, takes, and this is winning for white. The problem is the queens are aligned, and there's knight d6. Oh no, black's queen. Do you think your recent OTB play helped? Yeah, definitely has helped like to play some serious over the board chess because it forces me to again be more robust with prep. I also want to give a thanks to Gary, Grandmaster Gary, who I did some training over the board games with yesterday, and I think that helped a lot. So shout out to Gary. We have the Gari command. Wait, position for white is really bad after the trap, or is it the position for black? This should be good for white. How do you make this opening playable if opponent doesn't go into the trap line? Yeah, so an experienced player, like if I played this against Levy, he'd probably play knight f6 here. And then the way to make this playable is just accept the fact that you're down a pawn and develop and use the bishops. It has some resemblance to a Danish gambit, but engine will already give a slight edge to black, or big edge. Wait, what? Yeah, Stockfish being savage. But in Bullet, like, it's still possible to play. Thank you, No-Go Jules. Oh, Gary was actively watching and chatting. Nice. There's a game between Hikaru and Faruja. This is probably the most well-known game in this line. But Hikaru played Rook B1. And the difference with this line, this is better according to the engine compared to the other one. But there's more long-term positional compensation for white. And Hikaru beat Faruja in like less than 20 moves. It was a 19-move game. Is he just developed and then got tactics? Like knight f7. Yeah, he was winning after. And when did it get bad? So c5, natural looking move, but just a blunder. So he was winning after 11 moves. When will you do a hot tub stream? The first step would be to get a hot tub or find a hot tub. I know Levy did his hot tub stream in celebration of reaching 10,000 subscribers on Twitch. So maybe I would set a sub goal, like 5,000. I feel like 5,000 subscribers is attainable, but it would take some effort. Yeah, we're at a decent chess elo right now in the 2300s. Hey, free Hoosier. One step closer. 5 steps closer to a hot tub stream. Thanks so much. Yeah, if you have Prime, you can subscribe for free. It does help support the channel. Thank you, Omni Perspective.
Good job against Levy.
Anyway, I'm gonna wrap things up. Need to eat something. I had eggs earlier, but that food sounds nice. Do you know you surpassed 2850 in bullet? Yeah, I think at some point I reached my peak bullet rating today. But then the bomb cloud happened. I lost some points in the final game. I checked. I was checking the top ratings list on chess.com and Bullet.
Well played, Eric.
Thank you, Turbo Chook. So, Chess Network has a 2900 something bullet rating on chess.com, which is crazy. So I might have to keep grinding, maybe try and get into the 2900s. Thank you, Ostrakit, with a new Prime sub.
What a great 6-month gift. Congrats on the dub.
Thank you, Jay Slickman. Can we expect a funny tweet? Yeah, I just tweeted very basically letting people know the match was gonna be starting. I tried not to spend too much time yesterday on social media. That's another thing, it's a good tip when preparing for chess tournaments or matches um to take a step back from social media. But it's tricky because there's all these promotional tweets. Anyway, yeah, I'm sure me and Levy will play at some point in the future. It's always close between us. Comes down to finer details. Let's find. Wait, let me open up Twitch. Let's find someone to raid. Why don't you get chess.com sponsorship? Well, chess.com has a streamers program that
Congrats on the dub, Eric. Also,
thank you,
quack.
Nevis. That would be and that was actually introduced around when I started streaming. But yeah, one of my values is I don't like accepting exclusivity. So a big part of my content is the fact I can stream on whatever platform I want to.
Stoked for your win against Levy. Love from London. Quack.
Thank you, MacJeezel. I did do a Kasparov chess sponsorship last week. I was sharing inside their premium video library, but they didn't ask for exclusivity. So yeah, that was just a thing to let people know the site exists and to share some of the cool features.
Congrats on the win.
Thank you, Cat's Pajamas. And Kuryuk. I do play and stream occasionally on chess.com. I think the player community is a bit stronger just on a regular basis compared to Lichess. But I like Lichess for the study feature. It's super streamlined and easy to navigate. But at some point, I'd like to do a speed run on chess.com. Hopefully this summer. Eric, will you play Bullet Title Arena in 45 hours? Maybe, yeah. Should be around for that. But again, I was trying to make this point earlier. Uh, I know some people are like for one site or against other site, but we should be grateful that both sites exist and bring so much value to the chess community, along with all the other chess websites too. Chess24, Kasparov Chess, kungfuchess.org.
Nice win, Eric.
At some point I want to do a series of streams or videos where I just look at random chess sites online that are not the major platforms. Because there's all these small projects popping up that can be super fun to dig into. Anyway, okay, I should wrap things up. Thanks again, everyone. I appreciate the support. I'll send the raid to... Man, there's a lot of people streaming chess. I'll send the raid to CL Smith. Did that work? Oh, that worked. It's been tricky to stream from my laptop. Because when I open one window, it hides chat. Anyway, yeah, thanks again, everyone, for the support, kind words. Yeah, shout out to Levy too. Like he streamed the thing. It's probably not easy to like stream and play, but maybe it like for him maybe it made more sense. So yeah, I look forward to rewatching the commentary, and I should be back in the near future. Most likely for the title arena on Saturday, which I did not know was taking place, but I'll try and mark in my calendar. And yeah, that's about it. Thanks again, and goodbye.